was a class that was made for people who aren't STEM majors. Apparently they don't offer this course anymore. Fully am entering my poetry era. I'm gonna start a blog. I struggled in this class. Hello YouTube, hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Hannah Maria, and if you're new here, I am a junior right now at Yale University studying religious studies and Spanish. I changed my major, and you will hear about that in this video because today I'm going to be talking about, let's see if I can find my screenshot. I'm going to be talking about the classes that I took my sophomore and my junior year at Yale. So currently ending my junior year, but I took a bunch of gap semesters and everything. If you've been watching my channel, I've just been doing a bunch. And I am going to just go through my classes because I made a video my freshman year going through all my classes. Yeah, also what does the religious studies, Spanish, and political science majors look like, because I was a political science major. Okay, so basically how this is going to work is I'm going to state all the classes really quickly, why I took the class, and what I liked and didn't like of the class. So this all starts with summer 2020, summer after my freshman year, and I took a philosophy course, Introduction to Ethics, and a Spanish course, Advanced Spanish Language and Andean Culture, and Zoom University really helped me to be confident to speak. I don't know why it felt like less pressure when I can see everyone's faces at once, but maybe it just felt like there was less bodies, or it felt like making a YouTube or something. Intro to Ethics was a really cool class. We had we covered a broad variety of philosophers. It was, yeah, a good first exposure to what these different thinkers had to say about different moral dilemmas and everything like that, and to really think through with the other people in the class was really fun too. It was really hard to write an ethics paper, though, I will say. And then the Spanish course, I was supposed to be in Ecuador that summer, actually, but then because of COVID, it didn't happen. But it was really cool because we were still able to, learn a lot about the culture by talking to people who were in Ecuador that the professor knew, watching movies, watching cinema. Then we also had a, exchange moment with an Ecuadorian student at university who was also taking summer classes, probably an English class, and we'd speak an hour or 30 minutes back and forth, Spanish and English, and we talked a lot about me, and shout out Hugo if you're watching this. Yeah, we talked a lot about politics and university and just things in general. Yeah, so that was the best semester for me, academically, thus far, after my freshman year, so that was really nice. Fall comes around and I said goodbye Yale. I pulled a Rory Gilmore and took a leave of absence, and I was a barista for the semester in my hometown, so still in Connecticut. Everything was still online. Sophomores weren't even allowed back on campus, so I was like, what's the point? I'll just be a barista, and it was really fun, and now I know how to make coffee. Well, I didn't make this actually, but I came back as a first semester sophomore in the spring. So it was spring 2021, and I took 5 courses. That's the most courses that you can, I think you can take more than 5 actually, but you have to get special permission. But 5 courses, spring 2021. I took a MB&B course called Biology, the World, and Us, poli-sci course called Intro to International Relations, poli-sci course called Moral Foundations of Politics, and a religious studies course called Intro to Judaism and the Ancient World. And then finally, a Spanish course called Advanced Spanish Grammar. So I'll just go backwards for this. Advanced Spanish Grammar was an L5 course. Oh yeah, so the summer Spanish one was an L5 one too, actually. I loved the professor, but the class was very, very hard because the thing that in Spanish that I'm worst at is the grammar. And so it was hard to just do a class solely focusing on conjugations, like grammar points, not even writing and reading, but like the rules of the grammar. And so that was really difficult. But I think it was good. I think it was good help, for sure. And then my religious studies course, Intro to Judaism and the Ancient World, is one of my favorite courses that I've taken at Yale thus far. The professor was amazing, so smart. Like, you can tell that like he knew everything in his field and his niche, whatever. And it was the year that like he retired, so it's his last year teaching. And that was really cool to be like a student in his last year. So that was really cool, and I feel like I learned a lot about Judaism, which I didn't really study in depth before, and Judaism specifically in that period. So it was like the Second Temple period, and we learned about the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Qumran community, the different, like, I don't know if you guys are interested in what I learned in my Judaism class, but it was my favorite class, like, ever. Yeah, and it was also cool for me because I learned more about like the roots of the Christian faith, right, in Judaism. Yeah, and then so for my poli-sci courses, I had a Moral Foundations of Politics, which is really similar to one of the classes I took my freshman year, which was Intro to Political Philosophy. We read a lot of the same books, but approached them in different ways and had different discussions about them. So I really liked that because it cemented, what Marx believes in me, or something like that, right? Like, we read a lot of the same thinkers, philosophers, and whatnot. And then, yeah, and it was a really enjoyable class. And then Intro to International Relations, I struggled in this class because like I don't really understand how the economy works, and that was the majority of this class. Is like 70% of this class was connecting the economy to politics and like international relations, which like makes sense, and I'm glad that I learned more about it, but it was a big learning curve for me. The MB&B class is Biology, the World, and Us, and it was a class that was made for people who aren't STEM majors. So we approached a lot of the STEM subjects in a sociological way. So it was a lot easier for me to understand and engage with, and yeah, to see just like that, just have a greater appreciation for my STEM brothers and sisters. Yeah, and so then that was spring 2021, sophomore year, and then we go into fall 2021, and that was the second part of my sophomore year. I only took 3 classes, and it was one poli-sci class, International Relations of the Middle East, one religious studies class, Islam Today, Jihad and Fundamentalism, and a Spanish class, Studies in Spanish Literature. And okay, so Spanish literature was my favorite class that semester. I love the professor so much. He literally made reading Don Quixote El Cid in like medieval Spanish texts that were hard to read. He made it so fun and relevant, and yeah, just super engaging. And so that was a really fun course. And we also did a little play in the course we did El Gran Teatro del Mundo, and so that was really fun. And then Islam Today, Jihad and Fundamentalism. Apparently they don't offer this course anymore. Yeah, I wonder if it has to do with like not getting all of what Islam incorporates today and just focusing on jihad. But it was interesting because I never learned it about that again, and especially in context with my poli-sci course, international relations of the Middle East, because yeah, like I definitely think religion and politics often goes together, and that's why I was majoring in the two of them. This class was a lot easier to take than my intro to international relations, because I felt like the focus on the region made it a lot clearer. Like the economics part of it, like focusing on maybe like examples of like big oil things, companies and stuff like that, instead of just in theory and abstract and like sometimes grounded in cases. It was a lot easier to just focus on the region, focus on how they interact. And yeah, so that was my sophomore year, and then one gap semester later, I spent my time in Spain. I realized how much I love Spanish. I come back officially a year behind my original year, which was 2023, which I should be graduating this year, but I'm not. I'm staying for one more year. The last semester I was still political science and religious studies major with a certificate in Spanish. So junior year, first semester, I took poli-sci class, democratization, a religion class up at the Divinity School for credit, introduction to theology with Willie Jennings. I was so obsessed with that class. And then poetry and faith, a religious studies class here at the college, and then Spanish studies in Latin American literature. So the Latin American literature course was different than the Spanish literature because the Spanish literature focused on Spain, Latin American literature focused on Latin America, and it was also really amazing. There was a visiting professor from Dartmouth, but it was really cool because we were able to see the different historical narratives from both the colonizers and like the indigenous people in Latin America, and we had some really cool discussions on that. And then I had a poetry and faith class with Christian Wyman, and I was obsessed with that class. I fully am entering my poetry era. I'm gonna start a blog. Like I don't know if my poems are good, but like it's happening. And I've been reading a lot of poetry, of course. And the class was only like 7 people, and we all have a group chat and we still keep in touch and stuff, so it's really nice. Get little dinners. And then introduction to theology up at the Div School. It was so good. I loved it so much. We talked about Christology, so like who is Christ, who is Jesus Christ in the Bible, and the various interpretations on like incarnation and atonement and all of that stuff. And it was really cool to be with grad students who are at all different stages and phases of their life. And I learned a lot. And then democratization was really hard for me, again, because we read a lot of research papers and stuff about the economy, and it was both like a grad and undergrad class, so there was people who knew so much more than me, and people had focuses already on like specific countries. Like if they were from like Russia or Mexico, they like knew so much about the political environment there, which I just like didn't have that. And yeah, so it's a really hard class, but we ended it with a big research paper, and I did a lot better than I thought I was, and it was interesting because I got to focus on something that I don't think I would have been able to in my other classes. yeah, so that's really cool. And then finally, this semester right now, the spring semester of my junior year, I'm taking 4 classes, and that democratization class made me realize that I do not want to be a poli-sci major because I'm always searching so hard to find a poli-sci class that I actually like. So I was like, wait, why don't I just major in Spanish and religious studies? So that's what I'm doing, and I'm taking 3 religious studies courses right now, and 1 Spanish course. And so the religious studies courses are spiritual but not religious, enchantment, religion and society, and then my Spanish class is called the end of the world. And that Spanish class is with the professor that I really like and really enjoy his class, Jesus Velasco. And we talk about different end of the world narratives, and we're doing kind of a big final project on this. Our group is like making a video project, so that should be fun. And like, how do we see the end of the world today? And so we're focusing on evictions. Yeah, and then religion and society is the junior seminar, so all junior religious studies majors are required to take it, and it focuses on ritual and the body. And so we have different, each week is like a different unit, so like transhumanism, special bodies, Jesus and the Buddha, angels and demons. We also look at like fasting and disability, and like, yeah, it's like a really cool broad range of topics. And I also had this professor before, and so I really enjoy this class. And it's also kind of small, so I like the little seminar environment. And then finally, enchantment.
Oh, not finally. Finally, no, not finally. I know I said finally.
But enchantment is, yeah, with the director of undergraduate studies for religious studies, and it's really cool because it's also a broad range of topics that we're looking at. So it's like we look at cosmologies of like angels and demons. We also look at monsters, different things that inspire wonder. Yeah, that's some of the recent ones. We also looked at like language and secularism, looking at disenchantment later. And there's so much to the religious studies major and to like religious studies that I just never would have thought of, and it makes me like super scared but excited for writing a senior thesis and having to choose a topic on that. Which I will have to choose soon. And yeah, then so now my final class for the semester is spiritual but not religious, and we're looking at how people identify as spiritual but not religious today. A lot of Gen Z people are doing this. Gen Z people, I'm a Gen Z person. A lot of people are being like, yes, like I like spirituality, but like I don't like the history of religion or something like that, right? So like not going to church, but like believing in some like other power. Yeah, it is really cool to have like the broad range of things that we look at in our readings every week. So we look at, you know, different journalistic sources, but we also look at like religious scholars' thoughts on different subjects, and we also read like a novel every week or two. Also showing me the variety and the scope of religious studies and how religion affects our daily lives. And I love it, and this has been the best semester. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that this was insightful to what types of classes are at Yale and specifically for these majors. And I hope to make some more videos in the future. So just comment anything that you want to see. I have some ideas. Classes are hard and finals are coming up, so I'm trying my best. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!